Welcome to Getting Started in QuickBooks Online. My name is Tracy. I'm with 1 Hour Bookkeeping and I'm an elite ProAdvisor. Today we're going to go over the online version, so let's get started. Next up, the new button. That's what I said we'd get back to. I've kind of taken you through the sidebar there that shows you different ways to get to activities. Well, here's another way. I use this all the time. It just gets me directly where I need to go. I don't have to click more than one button. What we have is all the activities for your customer, such as invoice, receive payments, estimates, credit memos, vendors, same thing, expenses, checks, bills, pay bills, employees looking at their single time activities. Under other, it's got your bank deposit. Say you don't have an invoice, you're just going to make a bank deposit. Transfers, transferring between checking, savings, payroll accounts. You would just transfer through here. It doesn't transfer at your bank. You still got to transfer at your bank. It will bring it through your bank feed and you can hit select or transfer, but also you can just do a manual transfer right here. You can also do your journal entries, create your statements, adjust your inventory. So say if you have any lost, stolen inventory, but the inventory quantity adjustment will also just adjust the quantity without affecting any of the pricing. And then your credit cards, it will take you to pay down, make your payments on your credit cards. I haven't really used that much. As the payment for the credit card comes through the checking, it points and it says like we paid Chase, and it will bring that through. Here's your one-stop shop for getting all your activities for your customers, vendors, and employees. I'm going to go in and create an invoice. First thing you do is select the customer, and if you put in an email, it will automatically populate. It also comes from your customer, the address, the terms, and you can set those by taking the drop down and changing it maybe to net 15, net 60, special orders. But for a default, most of the time it's net 30. You can also select the invoice date. It automatically will do from your net 30 the due date for that, so you don't really have to, calc that out. Again, I've talked about tags, not too much, but you could put a word in here, fountain, and then I could search it, and all my fountains would come up by searching through the tag. I could also really just go to the item of fountains and run a report on all my fountains. So there's different ways to do things in here. Just to get you started and get selling, here is an example. They select the rock fountain. It's got a pretty vanilla description here, which you can change up. You can type in here. And then we've got a quantity 1. The rate comes up at what we set it for at $275. And you'll notice the check mark here means it's a taxable item. The next one is the pump, and then you've got the concrete. This is one way that you can go about it. You can, create your invoice here. We also have sales receipts, and sometimes you don't even have to create a invoice. You can make a deposit, put the customer to it, and we'll create the history for that customer. At the bottom, it gives you the option here to put a nice message. You can also attach an attachment to it. Here you can give a discount, and you can see the tax rate that usually is coming from that customer because they're using an 8%. It will populate this, and then it will also help you when you go to figure out what you owe for your sales tax. So a lot of time it's due on the 24th of the month. You can go into your sales tax liability and see what's due and go ahead and produce that check. The buttons down here, you can print and preview here. You can make things reoccurring. So say you have a reoccurring invoice, you can copy an original one and make it reoccurring for each month. You can customize, or is where you can delete, open that up, and you'll be able to see the different options that you have in there. Here you have save, save and send. So if there is a customer email, you could hit save and send and it will populate with a nice message and send that to your customer. It will also keep track of when you sent it. So if you're not sure you sent it, you can see what date you had sent it. Receiving payments. We've gone from the new button, we did an invoice, and we want to receive the payment on it. They paid us. I'm selecting the customer. I'm going and putting the date in. I received the check, the reference number, which is the check number, and am I depositing it straight into the checking account? You can deposit into undeposited funds, which if you have 5 checks that you're going to deposit, you're going to have one deposit in the end. And you can put that to undeposited funds, put all the checks in, and then go to the new make deposit, select all of those to create an end deposit that will match the bank feed, because the bank feed isn't going to show you all your individual ones. They're going to give you what you put into the bank. Down here, I selected the invoice. Sometimes there's multiple invoices in here, but you can see I can record the payment or say they didn't pay me in full. I could go ahead and just say they pay me $300. If everything's good to go, it's the same amount. You're going to go ahead and apply this amount and hit save and close. Same thing with the vendors. We're going to go in and create a bill and pay bills for this. You notice they've got a check here and expense. You can write a direct check through here without having to create a bill and pay the bill. You'll also notice we've got purchase orders, vendor credits, credit cards, and printing checks. For the bill, we're going to select the vendor. You can see there it comes up and it says for this vendor there is a purchase order open. And if we want to use that, we could click that and then it would populate everything from the purchase order. But in this case, we're just going to say it's Norton Lumber. We've got the mailing address. This is where we will be paying the bill to. You can put terms of the bill date, and most important, getting that bill number in there. That's where the system can track if it's duplicated or not. And you've got 2 ways to put in information for the bill. The bottom one is bringing in inventory. So a lot of times, a lot of customers don't even use this, but for the ones that are using an inventory, you are creating a bill, meaning you went out and purchased products. And you'll notice it's populating the amount here. And if I was in here and I had a bill and it should be billed to a customer, I could put who it's billable, and if it's taxable, and the customer it belongs to. This is really powerful because it will put everything into that customer or customer's job. It will track all of your expenses, no matter if you bill them out or not. It will give you a good indicator of where you ended up on that job. You'll see down here you can cancel. Revert means you can just bring it back to zero, revert it back to its original state. Make this reoccurring. You could do a reoccurring bill. A lot of people do that with the auto payments because they're always reoccurring, or rents. More will actually help you delete or edit these transactions. And then you can save. This gives you an option to save and schedule a payment. But in the end, you can populate your inventory, and also they added a freight charge, so you can put that in up at the top because that wasn't part of your inventory. And if you're not even using inventory at all, you could put what category if you're selling fountains without any inventory and put it up here in the category detail. When I go to pay the bill, I will select the new and pay bills. It says what checking is this coming out of, what's the pay date, and what is the check number you want to use for your first check. And then in this case, I'm just going to select the Norton Lumber one, change this amount. It doesn't have to be, say, I want to pay $200 on it. I could change that amount. It would still leave the $55 open for me to pay. And it's really nice down here. It says, okay, so you got $1,201 in your checking. You just made this payment. So here's your new balance. It's making sure you have enough funds in there to pay it. You can pay it online, you can print a check. It's up to you.